Welcome to SVG-TV's news for Friday, September 19th, 2025. I'm Triska Campbell with the details. 17 beaches across St. Vincent and the Grenadines are expected to be authorized for vending under the proposed beach vending bill, which will be presented in Parliament at its next sitting. As part of the legislative process, a series of consultations are being held to engage stakeholders. One such consultation took place recently during the Tourism Stakeholders Conference. Representing on the proposed legislation, Crown Counsel in the Attorney General's Chambers, Frankie Joseph, explained that while beach vending is currently prohibited by law, it continues to take place informally. This was highlighted and the urgent need to regulate and formalize that practice. Joseph said the National Parks, Rivers and Beaches Authority will be tasked with issuing, suspending and revoking vending licenses.
So under the bill, there are certain authorized types of vending that can be conducted on beaches. They include the rental of services such as equipment like chairs, umbrellas, kiteboards, floats, snorkels and vessels, with the exception of jet skis. The sale of goods, including food and beverages in a building or a structure, and the provision of goods such as braiding services and massage services. Vending would also apply to persons who utilize carts, temporary mobile units, and who travel from beach to beach to sell certain services and products. So the vending that we would have just spoken about, the authorized types of vending, it cannot be done without a license or a permit, which is issued by the authority, being the National Parks Authority. And this would not only apply to individual applicants, but also to restaurant or hotel proprietors situated or adjacent to a beach. And if any person operates or conducts any type of vending on a beach, they will commit an offense under this particular bill, and of course consequences will then follow.
Licenses issued under the new law will be valid for 6 months, and temporary permits will also be made available for short-term vending activities. Joseph emphasized that vendors must meet specific conditions to be eligible.
When applying for a permit, this requires a form that must be submitted to the authority, but permits are only for occasional vending. And occasional vending under the bill is defined as vending for a temporary duration of time. Example for fairs, farmers markets, festivals, carnival, or cultural, entrepreneurial, religious, or recreational event. You have to be 18 years and older. If you intend to sell alcohol, you have to have a liquor license. If you intend to sell food, you have to have a food handler's permit. If you are operating under business name, you have to be registered on the Registration of Business Names Act. You have to have liability insurance where required, of course, depending on whatever activity it is that you're planning on. Where tongue and country planning permission is required, this will of course be needed. And the authority would consider these things as well as a number of other things, such as the type of vending that you propose to do, the scale of your proposed vending, what facilities may be utilized in the vending, environmental and aesthetic impact on beaches, impact on neighboring properties, including noise, smoke, smell, etc.
She said once a license is approved, vendors will be issued with an official badge that must be worn at all times while operating on the beach. During consultation, several participants raised questions and concerns, including who will be eligible for a license, defined boundaries for vending areas, and fairness and transparency in the approval process.
Is there any stipulation with amount of chairs per person, amount of space per person? How do you, one, and two, do you say it's okay to have 20 vendors, or we're only allowing 10 vendors or 5 vendors, and when we reach there, that's capacity?
And it sounds to me as for certain category of beach vendors, that bill may not really make sense. Okay, what am I saying? Of the vendors that I have seen on the mainland of what we might call the lower economic status. So, they might also be of the lower educational status. Now, when we're putting something in place for that status of people, then we have to make it in such a way that there is facility that they would be helped.
What? We hear about coastal erosion. And what if the sea took my land and my boundary is now in the surf of the sea, and I now have sand, which is technically mine, and the vendors come to vend on it? How do you deal with that? As in the case, Princess Margaret Beach. And we now have a big problem before us that is going to almost reach Canoan's episode, because the owners of the beach are here, they fenced it off, the vendor's been moved by trucks, so they can't vend no more except for one malicious fella who says he knows the law. So please tell me, where's the beach? Where does the beach start and where does it end? Because we know that the law was changed by Panel Campbell, who's deceased, and there is no high water mark anymore.
Minister of Tourism Carlos James welcomed the feedback and assured participants that their input is being taken seriously. He noted that the select committees continue to meet and review the draft legislation. He said they have taken the concerns raised on board. However, the aim is to create a regulatory framework that is fair, legal, and consistent with the national standards.
We'll also make the determination in terms of if there are beach vending chairs to be assigned to vendors, how many you can put out. I mean, we can't tell you how much these are your chairs, but we can say, look, we're limiting your space to here, and another vendor will get the opportunity to vend here. So we are facilitating the process in terms of in a regulatory way in relation to that. The structures, the intent is to not have the vendors build their own structures, and I've noted that beaches are now becoming another little Tokyo. I don't know if some of you have gone to beaches and seen the pole lane, so what we really want to do is to have some uniformity to the structures. We'll build them out, we'll have them painted, designed, branded, and of course lease them back to some of the vendors to accommodate them. There's clearly a policy in place that we don't promote this, we don't discriminate. We work with persons, we ensure that persons are compliant, and we can provide the best quality service to them. Depends on whether or not their background academically or otherwise, or particular status or class. So I don't think that will really have any kind of implication on the bill. But going to the question in relation to Beckway, now the definition of a beach, it's not going to take the geographical definition to say, well, a beach and the high water mark. Particular question as it relates to private and public land. Once the land is private land, that then becomes a matter of legal interpretation and may go beyond the existing legislation as the bill which we're hoping to pass into that.
Once the bill is passed in Parliament, vendors will be given a 3-month transition period to comply with the new regulations. The government also plans to conduct public education and awareness campaigns to ensure that all stakeholders are fully informed. In other news now, Philip Jackson, the new Democratic Party NDP candidate for Maricoa, has accused the ruling Unity Labour Party, the ULP, of neglecting the agriculture sector while placing a greater emphasis on tourism. Speaking at a village meeting in Maricoa last night, Jackson argued that agriculture, long considered the backbone of the Vincentian economy, has been sidelined by the current administration.
So in our plan for agriculture, you the farmer, you are the center of agriculture for us. But listen, we're not just about traditional farmers only. We need young people to see agriculture as a business. We need our young people to see agriculture as an investment And I'm going to take you through, and I want you to see yourself in the possibilities. So you are the new farmer, you are the center. We are going to make sure that we establish, whether we call it a marketing board or an agricultural export corporation. I like the song of that. Agricultural export corporation. That is to ensure that you have adequate markets for your produce and your hard work. No farmer in St. Vincent should have to waste time planting and harvesting and then to bust the brain trying to find out how and where to sell their produce.
Jackson emphasized the urgent need for a government that not only understands agriculture but also is committed to restoring it to a national priority. He criticized the ULP for what he described as a lack of vision and meaningful support for farmers across the country, particularly in rural constituencies like Mariakwa.
Our Agricultural Export Corporation or our marketing board is going to have professionals whose job every single day is to find the markets to make sure that you can get up on morning with confidence. Go to your farm and do what you do best. Then come down to Lakwa Buying Depot, proud of your produce and your hard work. Sell your produce there, we grade it, we package it, and the export corporation will make sure it gets to the market, whether it's local, regional, or international. Then you can immediately go back to your farm and do what you do best. This is why the NDP is the team that can guarantee a proper agricultural system for you.
The NDP candidate also called for a new mindset around farming, saying the future lies in cultivating a new generation of farmers who treat agriculture as a viable and profitable business. He urged residents to demand better agricultural policies that support both established farmers and newcomers to the field. He reiterated that a modernized and youth-inclusive agricultural sector is essential to the country's food security, economy, resilience, and long-term development.
Our farmers want a government that takes agriculture seriously. They're just waiting for the signal of an NDP government that says we take agriculture serious. And it's a Jackson, feeder roads gone to zero. It's expensive to get to your farm, even if you have a vehicle, it's mashing up because the road is not good. We will take your feeder roads as part of our agricultural system. So see how the parts are coming together. We'll make sure that you have quality agricultural extension officers to guide you. But listen, if you are a young person who wants to get into agriculture, you will come to the ministry and you will have proper persons there to advise you. But more than that, they will come meet you where you are. And if you're interested in dashing or whatever, you'll be able to pick up a booklet that has in it everything you need to know about investing in Dashin as a business.
Invest SVG has officially announced the Everything Vincy Expo Plus has found a new and permanent home. The Expo, a flagship event celebrating Vincentian entrepreneurship and culture, will now be hosted at the Diamond Industrial Estate, located just past the upcoming Holiday Inn Hotel and directly opposite the Hospitality Institute. The announcement marks a significant milestone for the annual event, which has grown to become a cornerstone of the nation's independence celebrations. In a recent social media post, the Executive Director of Invest SVG, Glenn Beach, shared the agency's long-held vision for a permanent location. It said, "It is something that will make every Vincentian proud," Beach wrote, adding that the event's new home represents years of planning and dedication. He emphasized the importance of the Expo in the national calendar, calling it an unifying platform that showcases the best of St. Vincent and the Grenadines' innovation, creativity, and small business sector. Nestled just 2 minutes off the main road, the new 3.6-acre site is currently undergoing rapid development. Invest SVG says round-the-clock work is being carried out to ensure the venture is ready to welcome thousands of patrons before the event kicks off on October 23, 2025. The new space promises not only to meet but to exceed the standards set by previous editions of the Expo. Features include a dedicated kids zone, a vibrant fresh food court, a jam-packed weekend of live entertainment, cultural showcases, and special events, an expanded layout to accommodate over 350 local and international exhibitors. The Everything Vincy Expo Plus 2025 is expected to draw participants from across the region, including guest exhibitors from Taiwan, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Lucia, and Grenada. Organizers are aiming to position the event as the largest trade and culture expo within the OECS. Registration for booths is now open and ongoing. Invest SVG is encouraging entrepreneurs, artisans, and businesses, large and small, to seize the opportunity to showcase their products and services in a safe, modern, and high-energy environment. The expo will run for 5 days from October 23rd to the 27th, with a deadline for participant registration set for October 16th, 2025. Applications can be submitted via email at export@investsvg.com. 26 police officers and 2 prison officers from St. Vincent and the Grenadines have officially enrolled in the Bachelor's of Science in Criminology and Criminal Justice program at the University of the West Indies UWI 5 Islands campus in Antigua and Barbuda. The officers were formally welcomed during the campus matriculation ceremony held yesterday afternoon to mark the start of the new academic year. This marks a historic milestone for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as it is its largest group of law enforcement and correctional officers from the country to simultaneously pursue tertiary education in this field. Speaking at the ceremony, Professor Justin Robertson, campus principal of the UWI 5 Islands, expresses gratitude to the new students for choosing to further their education and for placing their trust in the institution.
And as a campus, we commit to justifying that trust you've placed in us and to meet and to exceed your expectations. You are joining a fast-growing community. For the 2025 academic year, the UE 5 Islands campus is welcoming a record number of 443 new students to our campus. And that's from a record pool of 750 applicants. If my math is still mathing, it means about 40% of the applicants didn't make it. So congratulations to those of you who are matriculating. And again, I want to thank you for your interest in our programs and the confidence in us. I want to especially welcome the 27 students from the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force who are pursuing our criminology and criminal justice degree. And they're doing so on a face-to-face basis from the comfort of their home country, as part of our commitment as a campus to provide relevant programming in a flexible manner that meets people where they are.
Professor Robinson also noted that the campus is experiencing unprecedented growth as they welcome a record number of new students this academic year. The university is also preparing to graduate its largest cohorts to date. He announced that on October 11th, they will celebrate the graduation of approximately 200 students, more than double last year's total of 98.
So again, we want to thank the Antiguan and Barbudan and Caribbean public for embracing this bold initiative of the Antigua and Barbuda government and the UWI to bring a landed campus to the Eastern Caribbean. As a campus, our enrollment currently stands at 1,323 students, up 21% from the same time last year. And as a campus, we look forward to our January intake, taking us past the symbolic milestone of 1,500 students. Again, you are joining a rapidly growing community. So, matriculants, you are here. What are you here for? What do we expect, if not demand of you? And in fact, I would say what we require of you. And I want to say that our region requires you to be the architects of a Caribbean transformation. Look around you. The person besides you needs to be the innovator who breaks our region's cycle of inequality. The entrepreneur who creates thousands of jobs for Caribbean youth. Or the leader who finally unlocks the potential trapped in our islands for far too long. You are not just students today. We require you to be that generation that will determine whether the Caribbean rises or remains trapped.
Prime Minister Dr. Afghan Salves is set to depart the state next week to attend the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly, UNGA, in New York City. The high-level general debate begins on Tuesday, but Dr. Gonsalves is scheduled to deliver his address on Tuesday, September 25th. While in New York, the Prime Minister will also take the opportunity to launch his latest book, titled Our Caribbean Regional Integration.
There are two books which have already been published. They should be coming down shortly. I expect the shippers already have them. One is written by me, called Caribbean Regional Integration. That book is going to be launched on the margins of the United Nations General Assembly on the 26th, Thursday the 26th. There's going to be a conversation at the launch between Ofanali, President of Guyana, Mia Motley, and myself. Sorry, not the 26th, the 25th. 25th. I'm speaking on the morning of the 26th, Friday the 26th.
Speaking ahead of his departure, Dr. Gonsalves explained that the book reflects on Caribbean political leadership with particular focus on CARICOM leaders who influenced and helped to shape his own political journey.
Part A is essentially about leadership, broad discussions about leadership. It's also autobiographical, the things that shaped me and influenced me. And I also have a long chapter on leaders in CARICOM during my over the last 25 years. And discuss some in more detail than others, and others a snapshot. And the part B of the book has to deal with some titans from the past. I have Milton K2. I have Errol Barrow. I have Chedi Jagan of Guyana.
The 80th session of the UN General Assembly will conclude on September 28th, where leaders are expected to engage in discussions and reach consensus on a range of pressing global challenges, including climate change, peace and security, sustainable development, and international cooperation. Dr. Gonsalves is expected to use his address to reaffirm St. Vincent and the Grenadines' commitment to multilateralism and to highlight key issues affecting small island developing states, or SIDS. In other news, Dental Health Week has been declared a resounding success by local dentist Dr. Javon Oliver, who shared his reflections during a discussion on NBC Radio this morning. Dr. Oliver highlighted the initiative's key role in educating the public on proper oral hygiene practices and raising awareness about the importance of maintaining good dental health.
Well, you see, the way the week was designed, it was really to show that it's oral health, it's beyond just the mouth. Well, oral health it starts with the mouth, But when we're talking about the overall well-being, you know, when it starts with the mouth, because at the end of the day, just like, you know, when I was here, I remember when I was there last week Tuesday, I was telling Mr. Harry the same thing, the same how that we have to converse. Where does it start? It starts with the mouth. You know, if I don't open my mouth, we won't get to communicate. And so it's very important that we value what exactly our mouth represents. It's how we also give ourselves nutrients. You know, we have to eat and all of these things. But more importantly, we have to see it as the gateway of really bad health or good health. You decide that if you want to be in good health, you decide if you want to be in bad health. That's why we have to always treasure our mouths. You understand? So when we say the first step, it's really the first step. You take care of your mouth, and I guarantee you'll take care of the rest of your body.
He also expressed appreciation for the collaborative efforts of the health professional volunteers, schools, and community organizations, noting that their involvement was instrumental in the success of the week-long activities.
Man, till now I'm still getting props. I'm still getting congrats, you know, from the public, and I like to say thank you all for that. Remember, continue to encourage us as young people when we do these things. But it was really nice at the health fair. We had the community health services department there. That's with Sister Julie Russell. She sent a team there. They were doing blood pressure checks, blood sugar checks as well, even vaccinations. You know, even members of our staff, you know, they got their vaccines. I won't say exactly which ones, but they went there and got their vaccines. And then, of course, courts, we like to thank them. They sent their ophthalmology department, you know, so they're doing visual screenings. And the nutrition department, of course, from the government as well. They were there with their diet tips, the nutritional tips, I should say. And of course, we were there doing oral exams, oral cancer screenings, and we had a beautiful stall set up.
All free,
of course, all free. You know, all the information was there, and you know, that's the way we push it. Of course, Red Cross was there as well with the first aid training, and I even learned, you know, myself in the medical field, I even went to them. I learned some real vital information, especially with the care of seizure patients. These kind of things that we as doctors might encounter. With the patient sitting in our chair. And we also had medicinal there. You know, we're being more modernized with medicine now, so it's always good when we have the presence of them there.
As part of the week's events, several outreach programs were conducted, including free dental checkups, educational sessions in schools, and community workshops focused on prevention and early intervention. Dr. Oliver further stressed the importance of sustaining the momentum beyond the designated Awareness Week.
Because that's what it's really about when it comes to Dental Awareness Week. It's not just that, you know, because, well, we're employed by the government, but reality is we have a mandate, you know, and we're civil servants and we're servants of the people. So it's something that we have to always remember, that we're not doing it for us, the department, but we're doing it for the nation. We're doing it for the people.
How was the participation there yesterday?
And yeah, it was really lovely. You know, the kids they were back and forth with the panelists. They were asking questions. They're very informative. You know, we're trying to do a nice video reel, and we're going to just try to get it out there in the public, let all our sponsors see it as well, let the nation know, let the region know, let the world know what exactly the Dental Services Department of St. Vincent can offer.
Dental Health Week is part of the Ministry of Health's broader strategy to promote preventative health care and improve public health outcomes across St. Vincent and the Grenadines.